Hello, Harmony Kids! Hi, it is Miss Reba, and I am here today in your Watch It to tell you more about the special activity from the February B-Box. So parents, if it's just you, please go get your kids. They can learn more about prayer with you, and then you guys can do this activity as a family. So we are focusing on prayer this month, and one thing that we gave you to focus on prayer are these prayer sticks. So they are colored popsicle sticks along with a prayer key, as well as a big label for some sort of jar, can. Maybe you made chili like me and just had to wash out one of the old cans. Whatever works best for your family, as well as a Sharpie marker to write on those sticks. Before I get into the sticks, I actually want to remind you guys of our acronym that we talked about for prayer, and that is tacos. I love tacos personally. I know a lot of people that do. So T, Thanksgiving. This is thanking God for the blessings that He's giving us, thanking God for prayers that He's answered, thanking God for our families, for relationships, anything that we can say thank you for. A, adoration. I said this was like adoring God. So telling God about who He is, which He already knows, but it's kind of like saying thank you again, but it's recognizing God for who He is. So we're recognizing that God is faithful. We recognize that God is holy, that God is powerful, that God deserves glory. He is worthy of praise. More things like that. You can probably think of really good ones. C is confession. This is where we come and confess our sins. And this is important because we need to be aware of our sins. We need to be aware of the things that we do wrong so that we can bring them to God and we can ask for forgiveness. So this is the part of the tacos where we get to confess those sins. Maybe it's a sin of selfishness. Maybe it's something that we were focused on ourselves instead of focused on God, or instead of focused on others. Maybe it was something unkind that we did, or maybe it was a missed opportunity, a time that we could have been kind, but we chose not to be. We can confess those things. We can bring them to God. The O is others, and that's where our popsicle sticks will help us. Praying for other people, praying for other places, praying for other things, and we'll get more into that. The S is self. These are things that maybe you as an individual want to pray about. So maybe they are a way that you can learn more about God, or maybe you're praying for God to help you with something. They're things that you pray for yourself. To go back to the O, the others, we can look at our prayer key, and this gives us days of the week as well as colors that go along with our popsicle sticks. So I want to start with orange, and that is Sunday. So we are going to pray for our church and church leadership. So I'm going to give you some examples, but you can probably come up with more and even different ones. So I wrote things like our staff, our church staff we can pray for, as well as our pastors especially. I wrote down our kids ministry. So I spend time every week praying over our kids ministry, the parents, the families, our elders. They lead our church and they pray over all of us. So we can spend some time praying for them as well. They're special people to pray for. Our community groups, or Bible studies or fellowship groups, we can pray over these that they would be fruitful and that they would be blessings to the people that are in them. So those are some examples for the orange. I'm gonna put them in my little tin. The yellow is global missions and field staff. So I wrote down some of our field staff members, like the Martins, like the Batils, like Miss Laura and the Lewises. And then I also wrote down countries. I wrote down places like the Middle East and China and Russia. I wrote down unreached people as well to remind me to pray for the people that have not yet been reached by the gospel, by the good news of Jesus Christ. So green is for Tuesday, and the green is special because that's our family members. So you can write specific names. I kept them general to show you guys. So I wrote down mom and dad or grandparents. I wrote down aunts and uncles, siblings. I would encourage you to write your specific names of your siblings, of your aunts and your uncles, of grandparents, all those people that are family members. The red is country and world leaders. So I wrote down different kind of government people. So you may not know exactly who these people are, but your parents can help you look them up. Or your parents might know who they are. So I wrote down people like our president. I wrote down our Congress. And then I specifically wrote down Iowa's senators as well as their House representatives. So I took the time to look it up and write down those names so that I could pray over those people specifically. And then I wrote down a couple of countries as well. I wrote down countries that I visited or that I know that people live in so that I could be praying for their leaders as well. The next one we have is community. That is blue. So on the blue sticks, what I wrote was different community groups. So I wrote down our healthcare people, our healthcare workers, our police department, our fire department, first responders, other law enforcement officers. I wrote down the homeless so that I can pray for the homeless people in our community. I wrote down schools. I wrote down churches. Those are some things that came to my mind of how to pray for my community. The last color you should have is purple. These are kind of hard to see the marker on, so you probably can barely see it. I wrote down my specific neighbors. So I know the names of the people that live on both sides of me and even a little further down. So I took time and I wrote their specific names on those purple sticks. And then I wrote down other special friends that I want to spend time praying for. If you have other sticks or want to get more of your own sticks, you can write down extras in any of those categories or have any categories to go off of. Our purpose for this is to give you just a little bit of a guide and more ideas of how to specifically pray. So we hope that every day you go through the tacos method, even if it's just quickly for a couple minutes a day, you go through that thanksgiving, adoration, confession. When you get to others, you pick out of the specific colors of who you want to pray for or how you can pray that day, and then also pray for yourself. We Harmony Kids staff hope that this is a really big help as you spend time as a family praying together. So we hope that this is helpful to you and can be something that you can do that engages your family and causes you to go to the Lord in prayer.